Data analytics is no longer just a technical skill. It is becoming one of the most important career skills for the AI era. The global big data analytics market is expected to reach around $924.3 billion by 2032. And the data and GenAI market in India is expected to grow at 35% CAGR from 2025 to 2030. This means that companies are not just looking for people who can collect data, but they are looking for professionals who can understand data, analyze it, visualize it, use AI tools, and turn insights into real business decisions. Because today every company has data, but the real career opportunity belongs to those who know how to use it. With that being said, I welcome to you all today's session on AI-powered data analytics full course. In this course, we will understand how data analytics helps businesses collect, clean, analyze, visualize, and interpret data to make smarter decisions. We will begin with the basics of data analytics and understand why data has become one of the most valuable assets for every organization. Next, we will explore how data is collected, cleaned, and prepared before analysis, because raw data is often incomplete, messy, duplicated, or inconsistent. So before we find insights, we first need to make the data reliable. And after that, we will move into important tools and concepts like Excel, SQL, Python, NumPy, Pandas, and data visualization. Next, we will explore data visualization, where we are going to convert numbers into meaningful charts, dashboards, and reports. We will also learn how tools like Tableau, Power BI, Matplotlib, and other visualization tools help us present insights clearly so that businesses can understand what is happening and what action could be taken. Then we will move into statistical analysis and machine learning concepts like regression, clustering, and forecasting. These concepts help businesses identify trends, predict outcomes, group similar data points, and make data-driven decisions. We will also learn about data ethics, because working with data is just not about data analysis. It is actually about using data responsibly, protecting privacy, avoiding bias, and making fair decisions. And finally, we are going to explore some of the advanced concepts. Now, before we begin our session, just a quick info guys. Simplilearn has got professional certificate program in data analytics, generative AI, and adaptive systems in collaboration with IHFC TIH of IIT Delhi. This program actually helps you build real-world skills in data analytics, generative AI, agentic AI, and adaptive systems through live online classes, 180 plus hours of structured learning, 40 plus exercises, 15 plus industry projects, mentor support, and capstone project. You will also gain hands-on experience with tools like Excel, SQL, Python, R, Tableau, Power BI, AWS Glue, Microsoft Azure, and many more amazing tools. This program also includes masterclasses, career support, resume reviews, profile optimization, mock interviews, and Job Assist Plus to help learners prepare for data-driven roles. By the end of this course, you will not just understand data, but you will also understand how to turn data into insights, and also how to turn those insights into decisions and decisions into business impact. Now, before we move ahead, just a short quiz to test your knowledge. What is the main goal of data analytics? And your options are to store data without using it, to convert raw data into useful insights, to delete business records, or to avoid decision making. Please mention your answers in the comment section below.
So today we will start with what data science is, the basics of data science, what all we need to cover. Practically, we will be starting working with the advanced libraries of Python, that is NumPy, where we concept on numerical Python. Then we move on to the Pandas library. Then we will move on to data visualization library, where we would be covering Matplotlib, Seaborn, as well as the Plotly library. Another important aspect of data science is that no data science is complete without the concepts of statistics and maths. Not very deep concepts of maths, but definitely some concepts of statistics as part of data science. Then we will move ahead and try to understand what probability distribution is, how they really help in analysis of the data. Move on to the advanced statistics part of it, which refers to inferential statistics, data wrangling, and feature engineering. These two are the last points of this particular course, where we would be practically working a lot of data science, how we clean it, refine it, and prepare it finally to be built, to be used into the model. So we would be practically covering and dealing with a lot of real-time data like data imputation, scaling, binning, and grouping operations, right? So these are the course components. So that is why, again, I am requesting you and suggesting you to go through your basic Python because that would be required. And as already discussed by the LSM, that you already have your LMS, the Learning Management System, where you get your hands on exercises to practice and gain knowledge, course and projects, as well as ebooks for reference. Next question is, do you think that data exists only for today or it always existed? How did it exist, Ishan? How did it exist? How did it exist? Even if we talk about always, yes, Chetra, always, but how? Just explain, elaborate that point. In raw form, maybe what kind of raw form, Vaibhav? So you just think of ancient man. How did the ancient man, store data when it start communicating? Accounts and banking system. We still have accounts and banking system, Nigam. I'm talking about, you know, a, you know, data existing since the evolution of mankind. So when it was ancient man, where we never even had houses, we used to kill animals, cook on fire and everything, and then we started storing information. Some kind of language was developed in terms of sign language, symbols, and everything was written on maybe on a bark or leaves or on stones, right? Right, we have always been storing the data or whatever is preferable to us, whatever we want to store. We have always been storing those in terms of walls or caves, on the carvings of cave. Do we see that? And as human civilization developed, right, the civilized houses, more, like we understand Harappa civilization, Indus Valley civilizations, right? We started living in houses with other things. So the data also started getting evolved, our education system getting evolved, and now we started writing on the paper, keeping all the accounts, your name, records, we started keeping into files, right? We've always kept that data in terms of files. Yes or no? Right? And after the evolution of computers, that's around, the 1980s and 90s, that the data started getting stored in terms of our computer system. And of course, with the evolution of internet, the whole world now converges. So since it has been 60s, 7, 8 decades to this whole revolution, so we only understand digital data, right? Today, the data that we talk about analysis of the data or the science related to it, that data we understand it is in digital, in form of digits, stored in terms of memory. That is why you see a big, noise now about battery systems, semiconductor devices, because these are the lifelines. If this hardware is not there, then the data also does not make sense. You might have heard about this in the AI summit, that people are talking about data centers and the energy and the power to need to store that data, right? That is why there is this big burst, because now data is the new oil of the whole world. Yes, do you all agree? Whoever has power to the data, whether it's China, America, everybody wants to be a big player. That is where that country, or that will be the ruler of the whole world. That will have the whole power. Right or wrong? Are you all getting this point? Right? Since you have been born in this, right? So you only understand digital data. That is why it was important for me to make you understand. It has always been part of our civilization, right? But today we are living in the world of digital data, whether it's in mobile phones, whether it's internet. I mean, without internet, there is no lifeline. We cannot even breathe without our mobile phone. Any payment that we want to do, anything that we want to study, anything that we want to do, without mobile phone, we are helpless. Agreed? Do you all agree? So when we talk about data, data is nothing but facts and figures, observations, measurements that we take. And now we want to do analysis on this data. Why do we want to do analysis of this data now? Right? The numbers, the facts, measurements. Tell me, Why? Why do we want to do the analysis of this data? Quickly, tell me, learners. Why? Why is it important to do the analysis? Tell me. Why is there so much of buzz around this data? To fetch meaningful information from raw data. So why do we want this meaningful information, Webber? What do we want to do with this meaningful information? Now, I'm going to give you one practical example where you will understand the use of data science completely. So, data science for business is also known as the DIKW model, where D stands for data, I stands for information, K stands for knowledge, and W stands for wisdom. Now, what does each term mean? Please try to understand. So, data is nothing but raw facts and numbers. So, for example, if I'm talking about sales of a car, right? So, that is the data for a particular company. When I process that data, that becomes my information. For example, what has been the maximum and the minimum sales in the last 1 year? So maybe the dark blue points are referring to the maximum sales, and the green one is referring to the minimum sales, or the months which has sales has happened. Getting my point? So again, I'm repeating, data is facts and raw facts and figures. Information is processed data. Now, knowledge means something which has been occurred over the years, not based on one particular data, but over. So now I have data for the past 5 years. Now I'm looking at the data for the past 5 years. And what do I observe? That maximum sales happen during in the month of my festivities, maybe during my Navratras or during the financial year of end. This is what my observation is. And minimum sales happens in the month of June and July. Clear? So this is the insight or the pattern that I have analyzed. And based on these insights, I will have a wisdom that definitely, now what we can do is that we can, now we can give our observation to the, sales team or the marketing team that, maybe we can have more offers during the Navratras or the festival times, Christmas times, right? So that our sales can have more increase or bumper offers so that it can actually impact our business. Getting my point? So are you now understanding how data will actually have the impact, or the, what you were saying were all of you were correct, but you were not able to relate the term. So how actual data really has impact on the business by understanding, analyzing the patterns, right? And this is known as the DIKW model. Clear? Any questions, any doubt till here? Yes, learners. One more example, one more practical example from the New York Times story that, Hurricane Francis, we see these things happening around us. Hurricane Francis was on its way on the Florida Atlantic coast. So on Florida, there was a hurricane which was about to hit, the Florida. And it was Linda M. Dillman, Walmart's CIO, the Chief Information Officer. She thought that, one of the Hurricane Charlie had struck several weeks earlier, right? So what did she think? She thought that, let's try to analyze the data where Hurricane Charlie struck several weeks before and try to understand the history of the shoppers, right? Because we want a good impact on our sales, right? So what do you think? Now these trends are quite popular that a particular hurricane is about to hit. What would be the items that you would like to buy and keep it for yourself? Or like when you move to any Walmart or any kind of, smart bazaar or D-Mart, what would you like to buy from there? If I say, uh, some natural disaster is about to occur, how do you want to go about it? What all you want to buy? Tell me. Some kind of, Remember the COVID times, what all everybody was buying. Everybody wants to buy basic groceries, fruits, vegetables, so that they have sufficient to eat. So, there that could have been, and maybe, this is a little older times, story 2004. So maybe people would like to watch some kind of a movie CD, which was more hit, and they would like to buy it, buy more of such things, right? Maybe a flashlight or even a power bank would work. Surprise everybody, the expert the data and found that the stores would indeed need certain products and not just the usual flashlights. And from the past, the top selling item was strawberry Pop Tarts, increase in sales like 7 times their normal sales rate ahead of the hurricane. So Miss Dillman confessed in an interview that the pre-hurricane top selling item was a beer. Getting my point? Are you now understanding the power of data and its analysis? It is impacting today's business, right? So, lesson number 2 is all about basics of data science. So, what is data science? What have you understood? Data science is a multidisciplinary field that uses scientific methods, right? So we would be definitely using certain statistics, certain scientific research methods to conclude about our results, processes, algorithm systems to to derive meaningful insights and from structured as well as unstructured data. Do we understand the term structured and unstructured data? Yes, learners, do we understand the term structured and unstructured data? Structured data means something more related to in the form of table, Excel file, maybe, or SQL that you have done. Unstructured data is in terms of audios, videos, log files. Getting my point? Yes or no? Learners, are you there with me? Come on. Right? So that is where this is the power of data science that will help us to give conclusion. So using a search engine or making purchase on Amazon provides valuable data to data science driven software system operating in the background. So, data science emerges from a combination of expertise, scientific methodologies, and technology. It's not only about data, but it is also about mathematical and statistics model that we would be covering up in this course, how we would be using it to analyze it, and different scientific tools and methods. So, there are a lot of tools available, different libraries that are available, you know but in this particular course we are trying to be using the Python language to do the analysis or to find the conclusions from the data. Clear? Is this point getting clear to everybody? So one of the applications of data science in healthcare, which nobody was able to tell me, is that we all are using smartwatches. Is the smartwatch capable of analyzing my BP, the heart rate, right? What kind of stress I have, the number of counts I have done. Then it also advises you to go and take an activity, drink some water. It's been a long time. Do we see that things happening through the smartwatch? Do we see that? Can I get a response from everybody? Yes or no? Something which is practically that we see around, which we are using. Kishan, Khushi, are we using it or not? Pragna, Purnesh, Pooja, Lokesh, Sachin, Sahana, Sahil, Shrikant, Siddharth, Shusti, Shreya, Shreya, Tanisha, are you all there? Gagan, Ishan. Yeah. So if we are wearing that smartwatch, right, and we transfer the data gets transferred to the different servers, and it is the enterprise server which analyzes the data and tells me what kind of activity I have been doing along my month, or maybe I have to focus more on my cardio, drinking more water so that I can take more informed decision if I am looking for a weight loss, if I want to have a better healthcare system, right? So we can analyze the data, our own data, how we are living, what kind of water, how much water are we drinking, how much steps we are walking. Based on that, certain decisions can be taken. Google also employs data science to offer relevant search recommendations as users as they type in their query. So it gives the real time, the moment you're typing it, predicts the next word, that what do you want to search, that data science in health or in healthcare course or a healthcare research paper, etc. Similarly, finance domain, using data science can help a loan manager can easily access whether you are applicable for a loan or not. So once you have applied for the loan in the portal, like what all is important, right? What is your salary, how many dependents you have, do you have a medical insurance or not, what are the different properties, based on those kinds of analysis, what kind of your CIBIL report is, credit report, approved amount, risk. Based on those criteria, decisions can be taken whether you will be approved for loan or not. Clear, learners? Are we understanding the applications of data science? Have we understood what data science is? So the data science process, what all is required? First thing, as I told you, is definition. Problem definition for different projects, for different domains, for different data. What are we looking at? What are we looking at? The loan application part of the person, or what are we looking at? The healthcare part of the person. So the problem needs to be defined. Based on the problem data, authentic data needs to be collected from the correct resources, right? If you want to know how many people have got negative side effects after the COVID vaccine, we have to collect that reliable authentic data. Once the data is collected, data cleaning and exploration is required. Now, what are the issues in the data? Can anybody tell me? Since you've done SQL, what are the problems that a data can face? Can anybody tell me? Come on, tell me. Technically, missing data, absolutely correct, Sahana. Inconsistencies in data, very good, Meera. The null values in data, right? Errors in data, duplicate value data, absolutely correct. So all that needs to be cleaned and explored before we send it for further analysis. What will happen if we are not cleaning this data? Sahana, if you're not removing the duplicates or null values, what will happen, Meera? Sahana, what will happen? Normalization is a little different. If you're not cleaning the data, what will happen, Darshan? Inaccurate results, right? So that is a very, very important step in data science. And once done, we then move on to the feature engineering part of it. What does feature engineering do? That if any kind of especially categorical data needs to be converted into numerical data, scaling needs to be done, binning needs to be done, removing of the outliers. So this is still here we are going to complete our data science journey, right? This course deals till this particular part of the whole data science process, right? In the next step, as you will move forward in machine learning, model building and training will be covered, or the deep learning models training will be covered. Finally, we can move ahead with model evaluation and the model deployment. Getting my point? So the first step in the data science process is clearly define the goal or the question to be addressed through the data analysis. Gather the relevant data set information from different sources, pre-process, handling missing values, outliers. Then we need to transform the new features to enhance the data set's information, model building and training, and finally, model evaluation and deployment also needs to be done. Clear? And here in this particular course, we are going to do understand data science from the Python perspective. And can anybody tell me why is Python a hit language? Anybody who can tell me why Python is a hit language in today's world? Come on, we've already done that. Why is Python a hit language in today's world? Is it easy to understand? It's a high level language, it's interpreted language, huge collection and libraries for data science and machine learning. Very good. Very good, Abhijita. Very good, Sahana. What about others? Functions can be treated as objects, right? They can be passed as parameters to the functions also. Yeah, so we all are clear. None of you are answering. Most of you, rather, I would say, are not answering. So try to understand the advantages of Python for data science, that it is an open source, it's an interpreted high level language that supports object oriented programming, ease of use and simple syntax, scalability when compared to R, availability of the wide variety of data science libraries and packages, compatibility with all major operating systems, creation of new data science libraries daily by vast number of online user communities, and powerful visualization libraries are there, right? And the different Python packages for data science that we would be covering in this particular courses. First, we will concentrate on the NumPy library, which is used for scientific computing that supports large multi-dimensional arrays, matrices, and includes comprehensive mathematical library. Second is we are going to cover Pandas, which is efficient storage and manipulation of structured data such as the time series and tables. SciPy. SciPy is an open source library built on top of NumPy and is used for scientific formula that also we would be covering up in this particular course. Stats model also we are going to cover is a Python module that provides classes and functions for estimating many different statistical models, conducting statistical exploration, and scikit-learn. Scikit-learn, we will cover a little bit part of it, not much because it's part mostly used for machine learning. So scikit is widely used for open source machine learning library for Python, known for its simplicity, ease of use, versatility in handling various machine learning tasks. It identifies objects and images for autonomous vehicles and facial recognition systems. It detects fraudulent transactions in banking and e-commerce platform. It analyzes customer reviews for sentiment classification in marketing and social media analysis. Clear, learners? Are you there with me? And if I talk about Matplotlib, Matplotlib is a library. It is a comprehensive tool for building static, animated, and interactive visualization. We would be covering up Matplotlib in detail as we move along this journey to build different scatter plots, bar charts, histograms, pie charts. Advanced library over Matplotlib, Seaborn is another data visualization library in Python that is built on top of Matplotlib. It provides a high-level interface for creative, attractive, and informative statistical graphics like histograms, box plot, violin plots, etc. Then we would be covering up Plotly, which is used for creating interactive publication, quality graphs, and visualization. It is suitable for web applications also. Clear? So now let's do a quick recap of the different plots that you might know before. For example, let's first understand the line plot. Yes, learners, what is the use of line plots? I'm sure you must have all done it in your school days, in your mathematics, in your graphs, maybe science, physics, or math statistics. So can anybody tell me what is the use of line plot? which show relationship either over two quantities, comparing growth. So this is like x-axis. This is my y-axis. What kind of growth? Good fares. What kind of growth for x and y-axis? Especially if you are dealing with stock markets or anything which has been over a period of time, the sales of car over a period of time, or the sales for any monthly sales of fruits or vegetables in terms of economy. Very good, Faiz. Very good. Excellent. Anything else? So a line plot displays data points connected by straight lines, often used to visualize trends or relationship between two variables over time and other continuous intervals. Agreed, learners? Then a little, appearance, making the line plots better using the marker plots. What is this marker plot? It displays the data points with markers useful for scatter plots for visualizing individual data. If I really want to find out the relationship at this particular point, do we also try to draw the graphs like of your marks? Do we do that also? So Faz has changed his name to Trump. That's interesting. That's interesting. Faculties, your students are changing their names. So Faz has changed his name to Trump. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Come on. So a marker plot is something which can used to highlight certain points. Maybe even it could be the marks or a particular specific condition in the graph. Then scatter plots. Where do you see the scatter plots? Which gives the relationship between two numerical values. Come on, learners. In healthcare data, maybe the BP and the weight. People who are more with the weightage have more BP issues, or two numerical values can be used to compare using the scatter plots, right? Height and weight in a particular population. Then, have you seen some graphs like this, such as area plots, which help us to give the cumulative data? If this is the sales of the company, maybe the blue one is giving the sales for the first quarter. This is for the second quarter. This is for the third quarter. Getting my point, learners? NMIT, are you there? So an area plot visualizes the cumulative data changes over time, such as tracking the total sales, revenue over successive quarters. So where we tried, or maybe, if I want to analyze or give you a report card, so what was your result semester wise? What was your result in your first semester, second semester, third semester? Cumulative results can be easily represented using the area plots. Bar plots, do we see bar plots? I think so. That's very, very common that we see around us. Do we see bar plots, learners? Nothing but rectangular graph that show vertical and horizontal data based on another axis. Which gives the comparisons of the sales of different products over the month. It could be different, we see it as, students as display student grades in different subjects. Grid plots that you might have been using in your science or statistics classes to draw to see the downfall or rise and other things to mark certain particular points. Yeah. So grid plots basically help in comparison of multiple plots by enhancing the visualization points. Another very, very important graph is a histogram. Anybody who's aware about histogram? Yeah, last but not the least, one of the favorite graphs which we all have dealt with is a pie chart, where the whole data is considered as 100% and a part of it, or fraction, is shown in different parts. Clear? Right? It could be the share of languages in in the whole 100% area, or the different expenditure of the house in different areas that can be taken. So pie plots show the proportions of the whole, like the market shares or the survey responses, right? Nothing to worry. We will be dealing up with all these charts in detail when we take up data visualization. This is the NumPy 2.4 release. It helps us to create n-dimensional array, computing tools, open source library, which helps us. This is the material where you can, practically use it. It helps us in, working in scientific domains, array libraries in data science. It helps to extract, transform and load the data, exploratory analysis, model and evaluate, report and dashboard. All these things can be done with the help of machine learning, visualization, scientific domains, array libraries, etc. Clear? Lot of practical use. All the TensorFlow, all the deep learning activities, unstructured data is all stored in terms of n-dimensional array. Clear? So what is the use of NumPy? NumPy is nothing but a numeric Python. It is a package used for computation on homogeneous and n-dimensional arrays, right? What are the properties of array? They are mutable. What does the term mutable mean? Yes, learners. What does the term mutable mean? Yes, we can. And which is the other data structure which are mutable? Other data structures in Python which are mutable? List, dictionary, and which is immutable? Which are the data structures which are immutable? Tuples are immutable, strings are immutable, int, float, all are immutable. Right. Very good. Good. What does the term homogeneous mean? What does the term homogeneous mean? When I say the term homogeneous, yeah, they all are of same data type. Secondly, it can be accessed using integer position, right? Integer position. Strings are accessed using integer position. Lists are accessed. That is, in other words, indexing is allowed. What are the two types of indexing available in Python? What are the two types of indexing available in Python? Very good. Positive and negative. Arrays deal with numeric data and high performance in calculation, right? So, what is the advantage of arrays over the list, right? We just now saw that in list, basically, we store pointer to the data location. So every data is stored in a different location. Therefore, accessing the elements of the list are different. And when I talk about arrays, they are stored in contiguous memory location. First of all, they are of homogeneous data type. Int will store some bytes of information. Float will store some bytes of information. So they all are stored in contiguous memory location. That is why arrays are faster than lists. That's why this data structure was created, because it is much more faster than the list. Clear? Is this point getting clear to everybody? And now let's understand the code, and then you will start writing the code. I want everybody to open their Jupyter Labs and start writing this particular code. I will ask anybody to show the file. I randomly ask anybody to share your screen. I want everybody to start typing and writing this code. And let's understand this code side by side. Learners, please start typing this code on the Jupyter Lab that you have. The first and the foremost thing that is required for this particular course is import the NumPy as NP, that we import the library. The first step whenever we need to create, arrays is because it's not part of the basic Python, we will always need to import NumPy as NP. I want everybody to type in the code. I want faculties, please look at the uh, learners, students, are they doing it in the lab or not, this particular assignment or not. And this is how we create the array. np.array is the name of the function, and these are the elements to be created in the array, that is 0, 1, 2, 3. If I'm going fast, you can always tell me to slow down or wait, but I want everybody to type in the code. Ashish, are you doing it? Aditya, Nagendra, Harshita, Suhana, are you all doing it? Manohar, Chetan, Chaitra, Kirtana, Bhumika. Good Manvaya, good Manya, good Ashish. Yeah, so when I print A, this is the output I have get. And when I do a type A, it seems like a list, but it is not a list because it's an object of class numpy.nd array. So by doing type A, I get the output as type numpy.nd array. Yes, learners, are you there with me? Now, A dot endem, these are nothing but the attributes of the array. A dot endem gives me the dimension of the array. This is a one-dimensional array. The shape, the number of elements or the number of rows, basically it's a column vector. It is written like this, it gets stored like this, 0 1 2 3. So the number of rows over here is 4, and length gives me the number of elements in the array. Everybody got this? Again, I'll repeat. First, we need to import the library whenever we have to create arrays. Once you have loaded the file, then you will load it. Not every time you write the code. Then, by using the np.array function, you are able to create arrays, print the array, give the type A, that is class numpy.nd array. A.endem gives me the dimension of the array. A.shape gives me the number of elements, and length.a gives me the length of the array. Clear? Shape always gives me the rows and column. Right? And as I told you, the dimension, shape, and axis are very closely related. One-dimensional array has axis 0. The shape will have only one parameter, that's the number of elements. What is one-dimensional array known as? What is one-dimensional array known as? Very good. That's known as a vector. Only Vaibhav understands in this session. Only Vaibhav understands. He is only going to respond, nobody else. Then we had a two-dimensional array, right, which consists of rows and column. That is axis 0 refers to the number of rows. Axis 1 refers to the column. So what is the other name of arrays, two-dimensional array? That's also known as the matrix. Very good, Meera. Very good. And if I talk about n-dimensional or three-dimensional array, three-dimensional array will consist of axis 0, 1, and 2. Axis 0, you can consider it as the slices of the bread. Axis 1, the number of rows and column in that particular bread or array. Clear? So what are the different attributes of an array? Dot shape gives me the axis or the number of rows and column. Endem gives me the dimension. D type gives me the data type. 32 refers the number of bits required to store, number of bits. Item size gives me the number of item size required to store one element. So we do divided by 8 because 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. And dot size gives me again the number of elements. Clear? Is this point getting clear to everybody? Questions, any doubt till here? So now today till now we were only revising what we had done yesterday. And now we begin with today's session. We have to understand functions. We'll continue. I request everybody to open the 3.02 file. Please go to your LMS, download the material, and be ready with the material in your Jupyter Labs 3.02, 03, 04, 05. We are supposed to complete it today. I request everybody to go to your LMS, download the material, and be ready with the files in your Jupyter Labs. Anybody who's facing any difficulty regarding the material or the lab, please let me know. Anybody who's facing difficulty regarding the material or lab, please let me know. Can I get a quick thumbs up? Are we ready to begin with today's learning? A quick thumbs up from everybody. Quick. Can I get a quick thumbs up? Are you all there in the, session or not? Or are you sleeping? Parnika, Suhas, Malika Arjun, Rakesha, Rishita, are you there or not? Rakshita, Parvikshika, Pranav, Lokesh, Ranjan, are you all there or not? Okay. Now let's understand with few function. First is transpose function. So transpose function, as we understand, from the perspective of matrices, that it interchanges the rows and column. Flatten will convert any array, any shape of array into one-dimensional array. It will convert it into one dimension, and reshape will change it into rows and column. Clear? So the NumPy transpose is nothing but if this particular array is of the shape 2, 3, why 2, 3? It consists of 2 rows and 3 columns. And when I run this np.transpose function, it becomes into 3, 2. When I talk about flatten, now the arrays of any shape, it's not that two-dimensional arrays, it's applicable to two-dimensional. Transpose is also not applicable to only to two-dimensional, but any n-dimensional array. Similarly, when I use the word flatten, any n-dimensional array can be changed, is always changed into one-dimensional array. Please be clear. So what can be the two ways in which flattening can happen? One is row major, that I take this as my first row, right? So the elements of the first row are placed first and then the elements of the next row and so on. But if it is column major, I have to change the order equal to F. So first the elements of my column get flattened and then the elements of the second column get flattened. And when I talk about reshape, we can change it to any shape. A one-dimensional array can be reshaped to 2, 3, 3, 2, and even in more dimensions, 6, 2, 2, 6. But can I change this 3, 4 to 4, 4? Can I reshape this 3, 4 to 4, 4? Why? Because 4 into 4 is nothing but your elements are 16, which it will give me an error. Is this point getting clear to everybody? Now there is this activity. I want everybody to open their Jupyter Labs and start writing this first code. I want everybody to open their Jupyter Lab. Faculties, please take a note of this, that learners are practicing this particular code. I want everybody to first do this code. Copy code quickly. So the first code says import the NumPy. We are creating an array A of one dimension. X, we are creating a copy. And here we are trying to change the value of one of the positions of the second array, like 0, 1, and 2. So I want to change this value of 3 to 99. So when I do it for A, it does get changed. But when I do it print X, the value does not get changed. Can anybody tell me the reason why? Value in X not getting changed? Because X over here, we are creating a new variable in memory. That means a new memory location is getting allocated. The memory location is not same as that of the A. It is different. Good, good, Nana. Good, very good. So did you see the change? Did you see the change? Yeah. Similarly, but when I create a view of the array, now run this code, quickly make the changes in this. Now, instead of copy, create a view, and now you will see that both the values are getting changed. It will give me an output change in B also, as well as X also. That import NumPy as NP array, np dot array, and the dimension is one dimensional, and it consists of 12 elements. So can I change these 12 elements into 12 comma 1? Can I reshape this? Are you there with me with the code? So now we see this one dimensional array now changes to two dimensional with the shape 12 comma 1. We can also reshape to 3 comma 4 because the total number of elements 3 into 4 is 12, 2 into 6 is 12. So we can reshape it. Can I reshape this particular array into 3 dimension? 3 comma 2 comma 2, is it allowed? Yes, learners, is this allowed? Yes. Can we change arrays from lower dimension to higher dimension and from higher dimension to lower dimension using reshape? Yes or no? Tell me. Reshape function can be used to change any dimensions to any. Yes or no? Of course, when the number of elements are the same. Can I change the dimension from 1 to 3 and then 3 to 1? Is it possible? Vaibhav, Bhumika, Meera, Prajwal. Yes, we can too. This is the power of reshape function. Only Vaibhav understands in this particular batch. Nobody else. Manya, what about you? Mamata, Monica, Nagendra. Why are you all not responding? Aishwarya, everybody is getting this code, or are you all facing difficulty? Please let me know. Can I change it to further dimensions such as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Can I change a three-dimensional array or a one-dimensional array to five-dimension array also? Is it possible? Yes, because 2 into 3 is 6, 6 into 2 is 12, 12 into 1 is 12, and 12 into 1 is again 12. So the total number of elements remain 12. That is why we get these whole of arrays. All right. And we see that a reshape function minus 1 will automatically bring it back to one-dimensional array. So if you pass the parameter in reshape as minus 1, you will flatten it out to get it as one-dimensional array. But there is one more function which exists in NumPy array, that is flatten. It consists of these attributes. C means flatten array elements into row major C style. F means in column major style, as I told you. So it's either, row major style or a column major Fortran style. A and K are not used nowadays so much because A means to flatten array in a column major order if A Fortran contiguous in memory or row major wise. So now we have, evolved from these issues. So, the two main orders or the, types of arrays that exist are C and F. Then we have K, which means to flatten array elements in order of the elements laid out in the memory. Clear? Is this point getting clear to everybody? All right. So now what is A? Can you tell me the dimensions of A? Quickly tell me. Who's going to tell me? What is the dimension of this array A? Highlighted array A. Yes, learners. What is the dimension of, it's a two-dimensional array. And when I do a flatten, right, normally by default, it will do it row wise. So it will take order is equal to C. Okay. And C is equal to A dot flatten, order is equal to F. So what is the difference? If this is my two-dimensional matrix, so if I do row major, it becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, and column major 1, 3, and 2, 4. Do you see the difference? Do you see the difference? Another important point that you have to understand over here is that B is the copy, not the view of array A. What is the difference between copy and view? What is the difference between copy and view? Yes, learners. Again, I'm putting copy does not change the original array. It creates a new one, whereas view does. So if I make changes in my B, will it be affected on A? If I make elements in B, will it be affected in the original array? Yeah, it will not have that effect. Good, Darshan. Ishan, are you there? So ND array dot flatten, it returns a copy of the array flattened into one-dimensional array. So that is the difference between reshape and flatten function. Are you getting this point? Flatten will always create a new array. It will return a copy of the array flattened into one-dimensional. So if we have this three-dimensional array and if we flatten it using order F, what is order F? Column wise, that is, I will take this first element 1 and 7, then 4 and then 10, then 2 and 8. Do you see the difference in three dimension? Then 5, 11, 3, 9, 6, 12. Clear? So it is like the normal order. And if I don't pass this parameter, will I get the same answer? Yes, I will get the same answer because by default, it takes row major wise. Clear? Everybody is able to run the code. Do it practically in your Jupyter Lab notebooks, in your Jupyter Labs. Everybody is able to do it, or anybody who's facing difficulty. Malatesh, Monica, come on, answer. S. Lokesh, Sachin, Rakshita, Veenal, Bhavishya Chandra, Varsha, Malika Arjun. Malika, there's no response from you. Darshan, Danush. Come on, respond, learners. Anurag, Anusha, Amrut Hamsa. Yeah. Are you all able to run the code? Sorry. Are you all able to run the code or not? And what is transpose? Only Ganga is able to run. I think so. Ganga is doing it. Above. Okay. Darshan is also doing. That's good. Bhumika is also doing. Only four. Malatesh is also doing. Swarya is also able to do it. Only 5, 6 of you. That's it. Nobody else is able to run the code. Nobody else. Okay. Neha is also doing. And others. Still, I think so. A lot of learners are still not doing it. Faculties, please take note of this. So nobody is responding. Nobody is responding. So if this is variable of two-dimensional array, so transpose will mean that my 2 into 3 matrix changes into 3 into 2 matrix. Clear? Right? And now if I reshape this 12 elements into three-dimensional as 4, 3, 1, Can I transpose this? Yes, we can do that. All right. So now, learners, you have assignments for today. I want, please make note of this, faculties, that they have to complete these assignments before the next session because I'll be taking it up in the next session. So there is this assisted practice. Do you all see this? The problem statement where it says, as a data scientist, your task is to create a Python project that explores the NumPy arrays attributes and function. So this is the list given to you. Explore the key attributes, find out the endem, shape, size, and demonstrate the functions. So what is the idea? That if suppose you have a list and I wanted to multiply the elements, so I had to explicitly use the for loop to multiply 2 with each of the elements, right, to get the answer. But when I am talking about arrays, first of all, the two arrays have to be of the same shape and size. That means broadcasting will happen. What is broadcasting? That it will make the two arrays of the same shape. Both will become vectors with 2 and 2. And by default, the implicit for loop runs to give you the output. Is the concept of broadcasting and vectorization getting clear to everybody? Neha, Vaibhav, Bhumika, Meera, Aishwarya. To understand the concept better, let's understand this with an example. Learners, please look here to understand this with an example. Let's suppose these are my arrays. Now, can you tell me the shape of this array? This two-dimensional array. Quickly, learners. What is the shape of this two-dimensional array? Yeah, this is 4, comma 3. Good. And what is the shape of the other one? That is also 4, comma 3. Are the two shapes same? Yes, they are. So can arithmetic operation happens? Yes, element by element. This element will get added with this. This element will get added with this. This element will get added with this to give you the output. Clear, learners? Are you all getting this point? Yes or no? Right? So that means in these two arrays, no broadcasting is required. Only vectorization happens and the arithmetic calculation is performed. The first case is clear. Now look at the second case. What is the shape of this array? This is 4, comma 3. What is the shape of this array? Ganga, Meera, Vaibhav. It has consist of one row and how many columns? 3 columns. Very good, Vaibhav. Now, are my two columns matching? Are the two columns same? Yes, they are. And broadcast this one to the same number of rows now. So broadcasting is possible in this case. Therefore, it expands this array into 4 rows to perform the operation. Getting my point? Is this point getting clear to everybody? Yes or no? And of course, vectorization will happen. Good, Swayam. And of course, vectorization will happen for element by element calculation. Now look at the third example. What is the shape of the first array? That consists of 4 rows and 1 column. And this is again 1 row and 3 column. Good, Chetra. Good, Bhumika. Now, how is broadcasting possible? You have to check that if one of the rows is 4 and other one is 1, right? So can we expand it to 4 rows? Yes, that's possible. And if this column is 3 and this is 1, can I expand it to 3 columns? Yes. So broadcasting can happen. It cannot, it is not necessary that the broadcasting happens every time. And it is not necessary that it will happen only for one array. It can also happen for both the arrays also. So here the both arrays again become of the same shape. Then the vectorization happens and then you get the output. Here, is this point getting clear to everybody? Any questions, any doubt till here? Any questions, any doubt till here? Very, very important concept. One more example. Please look here. I'm sorry for the marker which is being run over here. Yeah. Now, np dot a range. What is the shape of this array? It is 1 row and 3 columns. Agreed? And a range function is giving the value 0, 1, 2. And when I do a plus 5, what is plus 5? It is a scalar value or a zero-dimensional array. Broadcasting will happen? Yes, it will broadcast it into 5, 5, 5, and then the vectorization operation happens. Clear? I'll again repeat it. Here in my first example, this is my one-dimensional array with the shape of 1, 3 values. This is my scalar value. So broadcasting will make both the shapes same as 1, 3. And then vectorization will happen in the output. Clear? Is this point getting clear to everybody? Now head to NP ones. 3, 3. That's one of the other ways to create an array with all values 1. So the shape of this array is 3, 3. And this is np dot a range 3, 1, 3. Now, there should not be any confusion since the columns match and one of the dimension is 1. Can it be expanded? Yes. And therefore, broadcasting happens and then the vectorization operation. Clear, learners? Chetra, Bhumika, Vaibhav, Meera, Nagendra. Are you all getting this point? And again, in the third case, can both the arrays be broadcasted? Yes, when I have this shape of 3, 1, and this is 1, 3. Now, how come broadcasting is happening? Since one of the dimension is 1, we can broadcast the rows. The column is also 1, we can broadcast it into 3. So both the arrays become of the same shape and therefore the vectorization logic happens. Swayam, are you getting this? Is this point getting clear to everybody? Yes or no? But where broadcasting doesn't happen. Now suppose if this is the array of the shape 4, 3 and this is 1, 4. So now the columns are not matching. This is into 4, but since the columns are not matching, it will give me an error. Clear? Let's do it practically, learners. Are you ready with the file 3.02? Sorry, 3.03. Learners, are you ready with 3.03? Vaibhav, Bhumika, Neha, Prajwal, Meera, Swayam? Good, Ganga. Good, Bhumika. So do we understand now this particular code? Yesterday we had worked on this. that this is my list 1, and if I do an asterisk 2, that means this particular values are repeated. They don't get multiplied. Right? But if I want to multiply it, one of the way is by I create an empty list, I run the for loop, and then each of the elements does it. But a beautiful way was solved by way above that we can also use list comprehension to get the output. Is this point getting clear to everybody? Are we clear with these points? Yes, learners. Okay. So now do you understand the beauty of arrays? Another beauty of arrays that by simply creating this array 2, 3, 4, and just by doing a multiplication 2, I get the values multiplied by 2. So what is the concept that is working behind this? Yes, learners, tell me. What is the concept working behind arithmetic operations? What are the two main concepts working behind arithmetic operations? First is broadcasting. Yes, that is 2 into 2 into 2. And then vectorization, that is element by element. Clear to everybody? Vectorization is now clear. All right. So different arithmetic operations are possible. One way is by using this plus operator, or you can also use the np.add function for addition. Minus is for subtraction, subtract. np.negative is a unitary method. You get all the values as negative. Then we have multiply, that is multiplication. np.divide, that is single division. Can anybody tell me what is the difference between divide and floor divide? Who's going to tell me this? Tell me, what is the difference between divide and floor divide? Yes, learners, tell me. Ah, come on, tell me. None of you can tell me the difference between divide and floor divide. That's basic Python I'm asking. Weber gives integer value. Are you sure? Floor division gives only the integer values for him. Divide gives the division value. Floor divide gives the remainder. No. Swayam is correct. It is the M% operator, the modular operator, which gives me the remainder. Gives me the quotient along with the the decimal values. This gives me the integer part of the quotient. Getting my point? Is this point getting clear to everyone? Mod gives me the remainder. Clear above? Please be clear. And double asterisk is used for finding a to the power b. Is this point getting clear to everybody? So now when I do A is my array, one-dimensional array or a vector, B is my scalar value. So what will happen? np.add. Is vectorization and broadcasting happening over here? Is broadcasting happening in case of this particular code? Tell me. In A and B vector, is broadcasting happening? No, Meera? Vaibhav says yes. What about others? One yes, one no. What about the others? Why no, Meera? Why Vaibhav yes? The 10 needs to be broadcasted to the same shape, right? Then only the vectorization will happen. Got my point, Meera? Yeah, so broadcasting is happening over here. So either you can use an np.add function or even a plus sign can work. Clear? Now tell me what is A and what is B? What is the shape of A and B? Tell me quickly. What is the shape of A and B? 2 comma 3, right? Why web of 2 comma 2? It's not 2 comma 2, it's 2 comma 3, right? Web of. So is broadcasting happening over here? We are using subtraction. Is broadcasting happening over here? Is broadcasting happening in this example? No. Why Meera? No. Why Neha? No. Yeah, because they are of the same shape. But vectorization is happening. Very good, Neha. Very good, Meera. So, but vectorization is happening. Is vectorization happening? Is vectorization happening? Yes. Yes. Vectorization will always happen. What is vectorization? Implicit running of the for loop. Getting my point? Yeah. Similarly, we have A and B, both are of one-dimensional array. So either we can use np dot multiply A into B. So is broadcasting happening over here? In multiplication problem, is broadcasting happening over here? Yes, learners. Is broadcasting happening in multiplication problem or not? Come on, Neha, Meera, Vaibhav, answer. Bhumika, no, it is not because again, they both are of the same shape. Yes or no? No for what, Neha? Are you understanding it or not? And vectorization will definitely happen. That element by element multiplication will happen. Clear? Is this point getting clear to everybody? Neha, yes or no? Vaibhav, Prajwal, Nagendra. If we talk about division, A is two-dimensional, B is one-dimensional. Is broadcasting happening over here? In division, is broadcasting happening? Yes, because they both will be made of the same shape. And that's how we get the output. And if I talk about power of A to the power B, so 2 to the power 2 is 4. 2 to the power 3 is 8. 2 to the power 4 is 16. 2 to the power 5 is 34. 2 to the power 6 is this much. Clear? Getting my point? Ma'am, but how can we multiply 1 comma 3 matrix with 1 comma 3? See, it's not matrix multiplication element operation. So if this is A, B, C, D, this also has to be E, F, G, and H. It's not matrix multiplication. A will get multiplied by C, B will be getting multiplied by F, C will be getting multiplied by G, and D will get multiplied by H. It's not that matrix multiplication like this. It's element by element operation. That's why it is vectorization. Now, does array support that? Yes, arrays support both positive as well as negative indexing even at the same time. That was not possible in list or tuple, right? But in arrays, it is possible to use positive and negative indexing at the same time. So if this is my array with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 values, positive indexing always starts from 0 on the left hand side. We move to the end. So when I say a to the power 2, what will be the value? What is the value at index number 2? What is the value at index number 2? Come on, learners, tell me. For this index, for this array, it is 3. Only Tejas got it. And if I change the value to -2, what is the value at -2? It is 5, right? Both indexing are possible. Similarly, if I have a matrix or a two-dimensional array, this is nothing but my row. This is nothing but my column. So this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, and this is again 0, this is 1, and this is 2. Right? So how do I take the position? This is my first row and second column. This is my 0th row and 0th column. Can I do a mixture of positive and negative indexing? Yes, that's also possible. That this is my second row. Row will always come before. Please, we cannot interchange that. Row will always, any term written before the comma will always represent the row. And any term written after the comma will represent the column. So, and this is how we get this element as 9. Clear? Is this point getting clear to everybody? Same, simple, right? So two-dimensional array, we have two axes. The first axis always represents the row, which is also known as axis equal to 0, right? And this represents as axis equal to 1, that is the columns. Okay. Now let's see who's able to answer this question, right? Let's see who's attentive in the session now. So if this is my indexing and slicing, before the comma, I'm talking about the 0th row. Agreed, learners? So this is 0th row, like this. And which columns am I talking about? What does 3:5 mean? Slicing is also same as the basic. What does 3:5 mean? What does the slicing mean? We are talking about the, very good, Meera, third and the fourth column, right? So in this row, we get the elements as 3, 4. Very good. So are you clear with this answer? Now tell me which row are we talking about? Tell me the row that we are talking about in the next question. We start from the fourth and we are talking about fourth and fifth row. Agreed, learners? Fourth and fifth row. Similarly, we start with fourth. We are talking about the fourth and the fifth column. So therefore, we get these points. Clear? Got it, Vaibhav, Neha, Bhumika, Prajwal, Meera? Yes or no? Only Neha got it? Vaibhav only got it? Now tell me the answer for this question. Tell me the answer. Which rows are we talking about? Which rows are we talking about? All the rows. Very good. So we are talking about, and which column? Second. Very good. Very good. So we are talking about these elements. Got it? Now tell me the last one. What is the concept that is getting used? What are these two colons known as? What is the concept of two colons known as? And an end position, we are talking about slicing. If we have a step parameter also, what is that known as? Yeah, what is that concept known as? Good, Meera, it start, stop, and step. But what is it known as? What is that concept known as? Striding. No, that concept is known as, please remember that, that concept is known as striding. Okay? Please remember. So, in this case, we start from the second row, jump two parameters. So, we are talking about the second and the fourth row. What about columns? We start from the 0th column, yeah. So, and jump two parameters, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is 12, 14, 16, 24, 26, 28. Getting this point? Have you been able to check the output? Understood the output? Meera, Vaibhav, Neha? Yes? Or do I need to repeat it, Vaibhav? Again, this is my starting position. I start from the second row. There is no parameter over here. It will go till end. And the jump parameter is 2. Here, there is no starting position. It will start from 0, go till the end, and the jump parameter is 2. Now clear? Everybody to be concentrated here, and then we will go in for a break, because now we need to understand how does the three-dimensional array slicing indexing works, right? We know that in three-dimensional array, there are three parameters or three axes which define that. Axis 0 selects the matrix, which is the slice of the bread that we want to work on. That selects the matrix. Second index is J, which selects the row. And the third index K, which selects the column. First point is getting clear. The first parameter over here is not the row, but it selects the matrix. J, or the axis 1, represents selects the row, and K selects the column, right? So if I have this example, how is it represented? It's like NumPy array, three-dimensional array. That's how it is represented. And that's how even a colored image is represented with the channels R, G, and B, right? So three-dimensional array is an example of a colored image, okay? So now let's take this example. If I want to access 2, 0, 1. What does 2, 0, 1 mean? That my value of I is 2. The value of J is 0. And the value of K is equal to, here. Learners, are you there with me? So now when I look at I, J, and K, right? So if I look at I start from here 0, 1, and 2. So which matrix am I talking about? I'm talking about this matrix. Clear? Then it talks about rows. So if I talk about the rows, I'll again start from positive indexing 0, 1, and 2. I am talking for this particular matrix, this particular row. Clear? Is this point getting clear to everybody? When I talk about k is equal to 1. That is 0, 1, and 2. So first column, so the element 31 gets picked up. Got it, Meera, Vaibhav, Neha? How the three parameters are doing indexing and slicing over here? And taking it forward, if there is slicing and striding, please look here now. This first comma before the comma is representing my I. This is representing my J. And this is representing my K. This is I, J, and K. All right. So this is slicing happening over here. Since there is no starting point, it talks about the first two planes, that is 0, 1. The 2 is not included. Clear? When I say about J, it talks about the rows 0, 1, and 2. So it starts from 1, goes till n for this matrix as well as for this matrix. So whatever matrix has been selected, that many rows will get selected. And if I talk about columns, it is 0, 1, and 2. So we start from the 0th row. First column, 2 again is not included. For both the matrices 0 and 1, therefore we get the output as 13, 14, 16, 17, 23, 24, 26, 27. Clear? Is this point getting clear to everybody? Or do I need to repeat it? Tell me, Vaibhav, Meera, Neha, Bhumika. Quickly. Understood indexing in 3 dimension. Tejas, Varsha, Manya, Monica, Nagendra, Malika Arjun, Chetan Kumar, Aishwarya, Abhijita, Ashish. Are you all getting this point or not? Any questions, any doubt till here? Okay. Tejas says to repeat. Let me quickly repeat the three-dimensional array for all of you. Let me quickly repeat it. So whenever we are talking about three-dimensional arrays are, represented by three axes. Axis 0 represents the matrix. J is axis 1, which selects the row, and K represents the axis 2, which selects the column. So if I have these three values, okay, I is 2, J is 0, and K is 1. So I is selecting the matrix. So we start from 0, 1, and 2. So over here, since 2 is given, we are selecting this particular matrix. Got it, Abhijita? Manya? Tejas, got it? Now J represents the rows. So again, I do it as 0, 1, and 2. So I'm talking about this 0th row. Now clear? And if I say K is equal to 1, K represents the column 0, 1, and 2. So K is 1, I get it as 30. Now better, Tejas? And if we look at over here, there is this slicing happening for I, J, and K. So if I talk about slicing, it starts from the 0th matrix. 2 is not included. So I'm talking about the first two matrices. When I talk about the rows, it is 0, 1, and 2. So I'm talking about the first two rows. And column, again, I am talking about the first two columns. Rows, I'm talking about the last two, and columns, I'm talking about the first two. Therefore, I get the output as this. So can we add the elements directly? Yes, if I add the element at array position at 0, at one position is 2, and at 0 position it is 1. So 1 plus 2 will give me the output 3. Are we clear with this particular output also? And if we talk about two-dimensional arrays, then we have to pass two accesses. That is, before the comma, we are always talking about the row, and after that, we are talking about the column. So at the 0th row and second position, we get this output. Right, learners? You can also paste it over here, play around with the code, learners. As I've been telling you, start playing around with the code. Yeah. So we get this element over here at 1, 1. So at the first row, this is my first row, and this is my first column. So the element is 5. Clear? Indexing is clear to everybody. Similarly, for three-dimensional array, we can access the elements using 1, 0, 0. Who's going to tell me the answer if I change it to 1, 0, 1? Tell me quickly. What is the answer for the values 1001? Tell me. Code along with me. If this is my array, what is the output with 1001? Is it 8, Vaibhav? Only Vaibhav has done it. Is the issue? What is the error? I missed out the square brackets. Yes, the answer is negative also exists over here. So when I do negative indexing for the one-dimensional array, I get the answer as 4. Even is a mixture of positive and negative indexing allowed? In arrays, is mixture of positive and negative indexing allowed? Yes. It does not give me an error. All right. Clear, learners? And again, you have this assisted practice. Everybody has got this assisted practice. Will you? So there is a lot of assignments to be done in the file 3.02, 3.03, 3.04, 3.05. So you have 4 assisted practices to be done. So now let's move on to 3.05. Slicing. What is the concept of slicing? Yes, learners, what is the concept of slicing? That we have a start and an end position. If the start position is not specified, by default, it will start from 0. If the end position is not specified, it will go till the end. And if there are 3 parameters, start, end, and step, what are they known as? Start, end, and step. What are the 3 parameters known as? Very good. Only Vaibhav understands, nobody else. That is known as striding. Clear? Clear to everybody? So let's start with slicing over here. Yes, learners, are you there with me? So this is my array. This is 1:7. So it will start from which position? This is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, this is 7, and this is 8. So we start from 1, and the seventh one is not included. So the answer is 4, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9. Agreed? Tejas, are you getting it? Abhijita, anybody having any questions, any doubt, please let me know. Is the code matching now, Meera? Is the code matching now? Neha, is the file matching now? Okay. Listing of 5:, this is again slicing. Start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Since the end is not specified, it will go till the end. So the answer is oops, Java, and cloud. Clear? Right? What is this? Striding. What does striding mean? That it will start from the first position 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. It will not include the sixth. It will start from first and jump. So 1, 2, 3. So the answer will be 7 and 4. Output is getting clear, everybody? All there with me? Is the output getting clear to everybody? And similarly, when I talk about two-dimensional array, if I talk about two-dimensional array, so here we are talking about the 0th row and which columns? 0, 1, 2. So the third is not included, so only the second column. So the answer is 33. Clear? And similarly, when I talk about this three-dimensional array, you can print that. We get this answer as 5 and 6. Why are we getting it as 5 and 6? Please look here. This is my 0th matrix. This is my first. So we are talking about this matrix. Okay. I is clear. J is 1:, that means we are talking about this particular row, 1:, right? And if you're talking about columns, so 0, 1, and 2. So it will start from 1 and 2. So the output is 5 and 6. Clear? Got it, Abhijita, Vaibhav, Meera, Prajwal, Neha, Bhumika? Or do you want me to repeat? Tejas, tell me quickly. Are you all able to run it practically? And if we talk about negative slicing and like 0 to -1, this part is not getting printed. So if we look at the last thing, do you have the assisted practice for this? Do you all have the assisted practice for this? This is the negative slicing. Now, another most important library of Python, that is the Pandas library, without which no data analysis can be completed. So if you say I know data analysis, it is assumed that you understand this Pandas library. Why is it important? Because it is helps to represent the data in the form of tables. When we say tabular data, that means data in the form of rows and column. This is how we generally see the data in terms of SQL Excel files, that these are my rows, right? And these are my columns. Agreed, learners? This is what we generally see as data, structured data, to put it more precise. That's how. So a column is generally of the same data type, right? Right. And this can be represented as a one-dimensional array, right? And the whole of the table can be as two-dimensional array or in the form of matrix. Can we say that? So here we give them specific name. One-dimensional array in case of the Pandas library is known as the series function, and two-dimensional array is known as a data frame. Please try to understand. So the two data structures available in the Pandas library are Pandas series and Pandas data frame. Pandas series is nothing but one-dimensional labeled homogeneous array where the size is immutable, and the data frame is two-dimensional labeled array which is a mutable structure. Now the question arises that when we already had one-dimensional and two-dimensional array, right, then what was the need of these data structures? So the need of these data structure is in their label indexing. Please try to understand. Here there are two types of indexing available. We can define our own label. That means here we don't have to give 0, 1, 2, 3, but every column will have its own name or index. So the column name is known as the label index. And similarly, I can give my own names to the rows also. It is not necessary that it will be 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. Clear? Is this point getting clear to everybody? Right? So let's start with the first data structure of this Pandas library, that is a Pandas series. Series is nothing like a column in a table, and it is a one-dimensional array holding data of any type. Over here we see it as the default indexing, but you can define your own labels also. Getting my point? You can define your own labels also. All right. So a series has a series name, a values associated with it, and of course, you can define your own index value, right? So how do we go about it? I want everybody to open their Jupyter notebook and start writing this code. The first thing that you will write, I want everybody to do this activity. Import pandas and PD. Everybody open your Jupyter lab and start working on this activity. The first line is going to be importing of the library. That is import pandas as PD. And here I am creating my two lists, one with the name temperature, other with the days. Quickly, I want everybody. Let me see. Paste the code initially. And the function which is used to create the series function is pd.series with the value temperature and index equal to days. Got it? And now you see the output. The output is vertically aligned. First difference. And rather than having my index as default 0, 1, 2, 3, I get this as Monday. The temperature is this, Tuesday. Anybody who's got this output? Quickly. Who's pasting the code first? Vaibhav, Meera, Neha, Suhana. I want everybody to work on this activity. So Naina was quick. So have you been able to do it? Series from the list. Now I want you to change this code right over here as days, comma, and write index is equal to temperature. Do that for me, Naina. And then give me the output, then check the output. Good, Naina. Interchange the attributes of the series function, parameters of just interchange them. Very good. Excellent. Right. Right. So do you see that the rows have interchanged? This becomes my index and Monday comes over here. Right, Naina? This is the output you get. Interchanged output. Good, Abhijita. Very good. Very good. So you've done it. Very good. Others have done it. Meera, Vaibhav, Neha, Bhumika. The Pandas library is built on the NumPy library. We have these two series, S1 and S2. And when I do S1.S2 add, we see that the elements are getting added element by element. So it uses the concept of broadcasting and vectorization. Well, not broadcasting because both of them are of the same shape. So it is using the concept of vectorization. Now quickly run this activity. Quickly run this activity. So Pandas is nothing but an open source library built on top of NumPy and is used for data manipulation. It introduces data structures like DataFrame series that make working with structured data much more efficient. And the advantages are that alignment, it gives the data type along with it. Also, it uh, me data standardization. It's a structure, intrinsic data alignment along with your label index. That's the advantages of the Pandas library. The two data structures available in the Pandas libraries are series and data frame. Series is one-dimensional labeled array, supports multiple data types, and data frame is two-dimensional array, right, which can be a combination of series also, right? So now let's start with the very first code. Nanas, are you there with me? 3.1. Everybody is there with me? I want a quick confirmation from everybody. Only Naina is ready? Great, Abhijita. So first thing, what is the first step that we need to do? We need to import the Pandas library. What is data? Can you tell me the data type of this data? What is this data? It's a list. Index is also a list. So now pd.capital series data is, I pass it as my data, and index I pass it as ABCD, and that's how I can check my output. What we can do is I'll just do a copy paste so that it's easy for us to just understand the outputs. So just you can paste it and then do series with index. Do you see this? Index is A, B, C, D and output is 1, 2, 3. Yes, learners, I've just done a copy paste over here. Nothing more than that. If you want, I can just show it to you. Paste it on the chat also. Yeah. So this point is getting clear. We can also create series using dictionary also. The beauty with dictionary is that, you know, the keys become my index. The values become my data. Right? Do you see this? Both are giving me the same output. Learners, are you there with me? Me give it with index. Yes. Are you able to do it? Vaibhav, Naina, Bhumika, Neha, Meera, Chetra. So Pandas series can be created through list as well as through dictionary. Do you see this? This can be created with a specified index or list as well as through dictionary. Getting my point, learners? And how do we do indexing? If I want to access any of the elements, default indexing is also there. That is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it says to get the value 2. So it will give me the value 3, or I can access only the element for B. Clear? Series with index and series with data. Okay. So this was print series. Yeah. You see the difference? If I do not pass the index, please try to understand over here, learners. Just add a print series over here. If I do not pass the date index, it will by default give me 0, 1, 2, 3. And if I pass it with index, then it will use the index value. Clear? This point getting clear to everybody. Any confusion, any doubt? Now let's understand some basic functions in the series, right? In the Pandas series. These functions collectively help analysts summarize and understand the characteristics of the data, facilitating effective data exploration and data analysis. So please try to understand these functions. Everybody to be concentrated over here. Very, very important functions which will be used in data analysis. The first is this head function. which gives the first n rows. If I have passed the parameter 3, it gives me the first 3. If I pass it as 13, it gives me the first 13 rows. And if I do not pass any parameter, default value is equal to 5. Okay. Then the default value is equal to 5. Tail is the last 3 rows. Shape gives me the dimension, rows of column. Of course, when we are talking about series will always be one-dimensional array. Agreed, learners? Series will always be one-dimensional array. When I move ahead to the describe function, it gives me the statistical analysis. Uniques, it gives me the unique value of the function. Please use these functions, and n unique gives me the number of unique values. Got it, learners? So it doesn't print anything. So we can print one of them. So what I can do is, learners, you can also make the changes in the file. That's why I keep making changes in the file. So it becomes first. So do you see it gives me the first n rows? And if I change it to 13, since there are only 5 elements, it will give me 5. And the moment I change it to 1, it gives me only 1 element. Clear? So 1, 2, 3, 5 are unique values. And this n unique gives me the number of unique values, which is 5. Clear? Vaibhav, are you able to do it? Neha, Bhumika? Now I've just broken those information and seen the output. Just simple functions. Got it? Now let's understand the operations and transformations in Pandas series. Operations and transformation in Pandas series are crucial for modifying and enhancing. All these operations help in cleaning of the data. So if I want to see the element by element addition, series plus series with index, right? So basically over here, it will, if the indexes are common, then only I will get the output. Yeah. So 0, 1, 2, 3, and then the other one is A, B, C, D. None of them are common, so I get the output as NaN. What does NaN stand for? Not a number. Then I am doing the squared of the values. Again, I'm just doing just copy paste, cutting it and just checking out the output. Right? Since I have given that 1 will become my 1, right? So wherever the value 1 was there in this series, let me get back to that series. Yeah, so this 1 gets the number 1, 2 gets number 2, and 3 gets number 3. Clear? Similarly, by using sort underscore values, we can sort the values also. Well, it is already sorted, so nothing to be missed over here. Just to check on the null values, you can use the null. So these are the functions which give power to the Pandas library for the analysis. So there aren't any missing values. So the answer is going to be false, false, false. Right. And finally, it is if there are any missing values, null value, it will replace it with 0. So we will do a lot of, practical, data with this. So nothing to worry. So nothing changes. So are you there with me? Got it? So just to recap, basically You can do element-wise addition in series, apply each of the function mapping using dictionary values, sort underscore values to sort the data, and to check the null value is the isNull function. Yeah. Are we good to go? Can we move on to the next file? Not the next file, next topic, that is querying a series. So if this is my series right over here, if we check out the values greater than 30, it will give me only those values greater than 30, lesser than 30, right? So these are the outputs. So this is my series, the original series, and I want to see only the values greater than 30. I just have to apply the conditional operator. It has print below, right? So series indexing, only those values greater than 30 get printed. Values only equal to 20 get printed. Values not equal to 40 get printed. Values greater than 20 and operator is also clear, lesser than 50 get printed, right, and is in. So lots and lots of practice needs to be done. For the next session, you need to complete all this file before we meet in the next session, right? And finally, and not the least, you have the assisted practice to be done for the series function. And in this whole journey of data science, as I've been telling you, statistics is going to be a very, very important part. And when I talk about the term descriptive statistics, please try to understand. When I talk about the term descriptive statistics, it's all about describing about the data, right? What do we want to describe about the data? The mean, the standard deviation, the minimum, the maximum, and the Q1, Q2, Q3. Q1, Q2, Q3 refers to the quartiles of the data. Q1 refers to the 25% of the data. Q2 refers to the 50% of the data, and Q3 refers to the 75% of the data, right? So now if I look at the first concept, mean, we are very clear. How do we calculate mean? We take the total sum of the value divided by the total number of the value, the number of the values that is there. When we talk about standard deviation is a method for calculating how far are we away from the mean point. So the mu represents the mean of the data, and sigma is the standard deviation, that how far are we away from this particular mean point. Clear? Right? We will delve into more of statistics, but try to understand that's the mathematical formula. And if I square the value, the standard deviation becomes my variance. What is the relationship between standard deviation and variance? That the square of standard deviation is known as the variance of the data. Right? Right? Do we understand the relationship between standard deviation and variance? Then coming on to the quartiles, when we divide the 100% of the data into 4 parts, Q1 refers to the first percentile or the 25th percentile of the data. Q2 refers to the 50th percentile or the mid-range of the data. And Q3 refers to the 75th percentile of the data. Interquartile range, also known as the IQR, that is equal to Q3 minus Q1, right? That's the formula for it. So you have to just need to understand the formula. Rest everything will be done by the Python function that refers to the quartile. So when I have this values, I've created a series with 2, 3, 4, and I run this describe function. So the beauty of this describe function is gives me the count, the number of values, the mean value, the standard deviation, minima, Q1, Q2, Q3, and maximum value. So I get all the values in one single table. Clear? And similarly, if I have categorical or string values, the describe function gives me the count. It has 4 letters. Unique values are 3. topmost value is P, and P has been repeated 2 times. P has the highest frequency 2 times. Now moving ahead to the next concept today, that is data frame. Data frame is nothing but a two-dimensional data structure. That is, data is aligned in a tabular fashion in terms of rows and columns. So data frame is nothing but a two-dimensional data structure. That is, the data is aligned in tabular fashion of rows and columns. Data frames are, are of different types because every column is different. It could be one of them could be int, float, or string type. Definitely, data frames are mutable. They have the labeled axis in terms of rows and column, and it can perform arithmetic operations on rows and columns also. Getting my point? So if we talk about the concepts of data frame, we understand axis 0 refers to the rows. Please be clear. Axis 0 refers to the rows, and the values can be accessed via df.index. Okay. And columns refer to axis 1, that is represented as df.columns. And all the values in the table can be accessed with the help of df.value. So the first way to create, data frames is, can you tell me what is the data structure? The first way to create data frame is using dictionary. Learners, are you there with me? The first way to create dictionary is creating data frame is using dictionary. First thing, import the pandas as PD, right? Secondly, the key values automatically become my column heading, and these are my list or the data points. Getting my point? This is nothing but my data frame, pd.data_frame. Everybody is able to run the code. I've just split the code so that it is easier for us to understand the different ways to create data frames. Data frame is using the list of list. Yeah, do you getting this? So this is pd.data_frame. This is the data list, and this is the column list. Are you understanding the different ways to create data frames, learners? Are you able to run the code along with me? The way to create is array. What is the dimension of array that we are using over here? What are the dimensions of array that we are using over here? What is the dimension of this particular array? Quickly tell me. np.array creates an array. What is the dimension of this array? Two square brackets, what do they represent? Yes, it's a two-dimensional array which helps us to create the data frame that's a tabular structure. And another way is by reading a CSV. Should I share this CSV file with you all? I'm sharing the CSV and Excel file. Please download it and copy it into the same folder. So when I load this, this will run. It will not run because it's not there. So let me see. This is house prices. Please download this particular file. You'll find all these files in the dataset folder. And then we have the iris folder. Once you have downloaded it, it should be present in the same folder. So how do we go about it? We do just a copy paste over here. Right, learners, are you there with me? Do you see I've already copied the CSV file line here? And now if I run my code, it's able to give me the output. Do you see this, learners? Learners, are you able to run this, load this houseprices.csv? Only Sahana is able to do that. What about others? Anybody who's not able to do it? So data frames can be created from dictionary, list of list, NumPy array, reading the CSV file, reading the Excel file, right? And when I read this Excel file now, the iris.xls, that's how I get the output. Got it, learners? Anybody with the thumbs down who's not able to run this code, please let me know. Data frames is getting clear to everybody. And another way that we have understood is using a dictionary. The keys become my column heading. And it is the head function which gives me the top n values. Got it? Right? Now, who remembers that what are the types of indexing available in basic Python or NumPy? Anybody who remembers that what are the two types of in basic Python or NumPy? Nobody understands basic indexing? Yes, learners, I'm waiting for response. It refers to positive indexing as well as negative indexing. Please look here. What does it mean? We move ahead with positive indexing as well as negative indexing. But Pandas library is different, right? Here we can define our own labels. So how do we give the indexing part of it? How do we give the indexing part of it? Tell me quickly. That's known as label indexing, represented as .loc, and integer based or position based indexing known as ILOC. Do you remember that point in series or not? Yes, learners. NMIT students, are you there or not? So, label indexing refers to the label or the values that we have given. Column value index, they refer to the .loc values. Row index values refer to LOC, right? And by default, even position-based integer indexing are present that can be accessed via ILOC. Got my point? Getting my point? Explaining this with further example, let me move ahead. That indexing in pandas can be label indexing or position based, right? Label is what label we have explicitly given to the rows or column. Definitely columns have name, but if there are no names given to the rows, it will take 0, 1, 2. Okay. Do you remember this type of indexing? This type of indexing is used to extract multiple values. This type of indexing is known as list indexing. If I want to extract more than value. And another important point, slicing. Slicing is extracting the part of the number of columns, right? So here we have 0 to 2, right? Over here. But another major difference between label and position based indexing is that in label based indexing, 0 and 2 both are included, whereas in position based, this 2 is not included as in normal and basic Python. Sahana, what do I mean over here is that slicing over here means that 0 to 2, the labels that we have given to the column. But in this case, 0 and 2 both are included, but in integer based or position based, it's like the normal slicing. Only in 0 and 1 are included, 2 is not included. Now to make the concept even more clear, let's understand with an example. So if this is my data frame, the first bracket, please try to understand this. So the first one is known as for the indexing. The first square bracket is used for indexing and the second square bracket is used for the list. Getting my point? Indexing. So what does it do? That it extracts the two columns automatically, that is employee ID. If I want to extract age, that I can also add. And if I say integer based indexing with 0th value, it refers to the first row, because here I am, can you tell me data frame? Data frame is like 2 dimensional. Element is like row, comma, column. So if there is no comma given, so it becomes row, comma, C. Getting my point? Right? But again, if I want to extract multiple rows, again, I can use the concept of list indexing also. Now getting clear, Sahana, Aishwarya, Neha, Nana, right? And do you remember this concept now, learners? Do you remember this concept? This is label-based indexing. If there are two colons used, what is this known as? If there are two colons used, what is this known as? Anybody who remembers the concept? I explained. This concept is known as striding. It's not string, it's striding. Okay. So the last is the step parameter, right? We start from the 0th row, right? And we will jump to values. So what are the rows that we can get? We get 0th, second, and the 4th row. Got my point, learners? Since this is before the comma, this refers to the rows, and this is after the comma, it refers to the column. So over here, what is the idea? That the employee ID is also included, the skill is also included, as well as the age is included. This is another difference. I hope this example in the PPT is making the concept clear. So the accessing of the data frames is possible. Elements in Pandas library is based on two indexing. One is known as label indexing, and another way is known as integer based indexing. Can you tell me how are we creating the data frame over here? How are we creating the data frame over here, learners? Which data structure are we using? What is data over here? Quickly tell me. We are using dictionary to do that. So I'm just separating the code. If you want, you can do that. But so that gives me, a little more better, easier thing. Or if I remove this, this is how I get the data frame. Clear? Yes, learners, are you there? Everybody's able to run the code. How can I access a single column? Just by giving the column name, it prints me the column data. If I want to access multiple columns, I can use the concept of list indexing. Clear? Difference between accessing single column and multiple columns is clear. Everybody is able to get this point just by single column name. And if they are multiple, then I can add the list onto it. Do we understand ILOC, learners? What is ILOC? Integer based indexing, where I access the specific rows. If I want to access the rows based on condition, I just do it because I think so it's easier to run the code and get the output rather than first see the code and we would keep on doing the scrolling. That's why I'm just cutting the code and checking, giving you the output. So only those columns get printed with column name greater than 15. Got it, learners? Another way to access single cell by label is using is at. This is the 0th column and the column name, or we can also give the index value. Both will give the same thing, or we can also use the label index. So all the, I think so 3 will give me the same output. Yes, learners, do you see the output? This is 5, this is 10, this is by label, and this is LOC. So why the position is not giving me the output? Position is not giving me the output because if I give zeros, then I will get all the same values. Clear? So you would say that, ma'am, what is the use of label or integer base? They are exactly same methods, but different ways to access the data. It's completely up to you. You want to use the index position or the label position. Still waiting for the response. Everybody has been able to run this code or not? Waiting for the response. Abhijita, you were able to do it. That's great. What about others? Are you all there in the lab? 100 plus. Oh my God, you've got 120 now. Come on, learners, respond. At least 50% of you respond. Manvit, Manya, Maruti, Meera, Monica. Quick, quick, quick. Prajwal, Prakhyat, Pragna, Purnesh. Come on, respond, everybody. Shreya, Shivaraj, Shashank, Saswat. Okay, great. Now, understanding the data frame basics, the commands remain the same whether we are talking about the series or data frame. The head and tail methods enable users to efficiently preview the initial and the final rows of the data frame, offering a quick snapshot of its structure and content. These functions are invaluable for preliminary assessment. So now this is the power of Pandas library. When I say that Python is a good language, supports simple function, so this is where the power of Pandas library. Head function, please be clear with these functions, everybody. It returns the first few rows. Tail gives me the last few rows. Info provides me the summary of the data. I asked about describe. It gives me the statistical summary in terms of count, mean, standard deviation, minimum, maximum, and quartile value. Then we move on to the shape, which gives me the number of rows and column in the data frame. And without these functions, no analysis is complete. Column gives me the returns, the column labels. LOC and ILOC are the way in which we can achieve indexing and slicing of rows and column. Sort underscore value will sort the values. Group by will group them. Apply applies each function to each element. Merge and concatenate will merge the data set. Plot will plot. And drop removes the specified row or column. So we will, as we move along, we will explore these functions. In place function, how will you override the existing data frame? So do you want to override the existing data frame? If yes, then we will always make the in place parameter equal to true. And if we do not want to make the changes permanent, then we will make in place is equal to false. So that we will see once we do it practically. But before that, we need to understand correlation. Another very important aspect of statistics. Please try to understand. This is the formula for R, that is Pearson's correlation coefficient. What does it help us to do? It helps us to find out the relationship between 2 to 3 variables. So Carl Pearson's coefficient of correlation, where value ranges between -1 to +1, which tries to give the relationship between x and y. So what does -1 represent? -1, if the r value of the r is -1, it shows a strong negative correlation between x and y. What does negative relationship mean? That if x increases, y decreases. All right. On if y increases, x decreases. That's the negative correlation. And when r is equal to +1, what is the positive correlation mean? X increases, y also increases, or x decreases, y also decreases. Getting my point? That if x decreases, then y also decreases. Getting my point? Is this point getting clear to everybody? And when R is equal to 0, that means there is no relationship between the data points. Got it, learners? Very, very important to understand the in-depth of the column. For example, if this is the data that has been loaded for your maths, physics, and history marks. Simple example I'm giving. Simply, we have loaded the CSV file or the Excel file containing the marks of maths, physics, and history. And when I run the function df.core, it tries to create an n by n matrix. Please try to understand. Since there are 3 columns, so a 3 by 3 matrix is created. What is the use? It gives me relationship between maths and maths. Of course, diagonal elements is going to be 1 because we share positive relationship with ourselves, right? We are perfect with ourselves. So there is this perfect relationship between 1 to 1, right? But what is the relationship between maths and physics? It's very strong. It's very close to 1.9. But the relationship between maths and history is negative with each other. Similarly, if we talk about history and physics, they also share a negative relationship with each other. Getting my point? Is the correlation getting clear to everybody? Have you understood what do we mean by correlation? Sahana, Meera, Nagendra, Naina, Neha, right? Then there is this another function value underscore counts, which helps us to calculate the unique value. So based on the categories, they are north, east, west, and south. How many times east has been repeated? Only 2 times. How many times north? 1. How many times south? 1. And west was 2 times. Got it, learners? Is this point getting clear to everybody? So getting back to the practical file. So which is the Python function which gives the correlation between the values? Yes, learners, which is the Python function which gives me the correlation between the values? It is df.core. And what is the range of the values? The range of the value is always between -1 to +1. Here they all share a positive relationship. But if I want to make it to negative, yes, Aksha, there is some issue. Yeah, it's df.core. And if I really want it to be negative, maybe I can put a negative sign over here. Then run and see the output. So between column 1 and column 2, there's a negative relationship, but 1 and 3, share a positive relationship. 2 and again, 2 and 3 share a perfect negative relationship. And that is true also. Clear? Then we understood value underscore counts, which gives me the categorical data along with the frequency value. Are we clear with this particular point? Are the concepts clear? Are we able to run the code? And this is the assisted practice for you all, that you have to load the housing data set and then perform such actions on it. Will you be able to do that? This is the data set. You can save it for your homework assignment. Great. So what is the use of datetime function in any coding language? Can anybody tell me? What is the use of datetime function in any coding language? For example, if I, now look at over here, I am creating this. Do we have any date type over here? So what is the date today? Let me put that as that 0403 and 2026. All right. Now suppose if I don't give the code, okay? Right. Do you see? It doesn't allow me to even print this. Suppose it's saying that no literals are allowed. It doesn't allow me to give three. So let me remove this. So it works. Let's see. It's minus 2025. What does this minus 2025 mean? We are not even getting the correct answer. Learners, are you getting it? So that is why a library has been built in Python to deal with date time objects. It is nothing but an integer data type, right? Got it, learners? And if I do a date plus 1, do you think I'm getting the correct answer? Do you think I'm getting the correct answer? No. Right? So that is why to deal with date time, most of the time the real time projects will contain columns which are, of date and time. It could be arrival, departure of the flight, when that particular recording was done, how long the session went on, right? And who bought at what particular time, when the items were sold, whenever they were shipped. Every real time data requires this date time analysis. Got my point? So in Pandas, the date time module provides robust functionality for handling date and time. So Pandas library, because Pandas is a library which helps in data manipulation, real-time data. So in Pandas, the date time module provides robust functionality for handling date and time data, while the time delta class allows us for convenient manipulation of the time interval. This combination is particularly useful for time-based analysis and working with temporal data in the data frame, right? So if I want to access what is the date time now, then what is important over here is that we need to import the date time module. The first thing over here, please try to code along with me, learners. Import date time. Okay. And if I say, I'll just send the code today is equal to date time dot now. Oh, I put it as data. So it doesn't have now, or if let's see, then it's not working. Let me see. So DT, sorry, this is the accessor, and then we have this as date time dot today. Now, do you see? It gives me today's, what is it? 4th of March, 2026. And if I want the time to be now, how will I go about it? DT dot date time dot now. And if I want to do any arithmetic calculations on that, then I can use this time delta function. For example, if today's date was 26th June, it would have added 6 days to that to get me this output. Clear? Rather 5 days. It is actually 5 days, so there is this error. So it is 5 days which can be added. We'll just see. Getting my point, learners? Are you there with me? So that's why data handling is very, very important, because it involves handling of the real-time data set. So first thing, how do we create a date range in Pandas? So the date range function is used to generate a sequence of dates with a specified range. So we can generate sequence of dates. It's a powerful tool for creating time indices or date column. For example, if I want to create dates starting from 1st of January 2023 to 10th of January daily, I can pass this as frequency equal to D.
Now we have come to the end of the session. I hope so you would have got a brief idea regarding data analytics. Thank you guys for watching this video. Subscribe Simply Learn for more such full courses.